and welcome to another edition of the panel on Gambling.com. Of course, it is Aintree. We're already on to day two. We're recording this whilst day one is about to get underway, so we don't know how many winners myself and Diarmuid Nolan picked, but let's assume it was a lot, Diarmuid. Well done.
Yeah, six each somehow, despite the fact it couldn't possibly. But look, let's just say six each. Six dead heats,
Let's
Dio.
hope we got off to a great start. We're into Friday of Aintree as we record. Why don't we go through and kick straight on with the 145, which is the Mile Bay Novices Chase, another grade one. Caldwell Potter was one of the standout performers at the Cheltenham Festival, of course, bouncing right back, justifying a huge price tag, of course, for new owners, Paul Nicholls and Harry Cobden. Not going to be favourite here, though, and I am an avid listener of the race, Howard, Nolan. I do know you are a fan of the horse handstands. But this is a hot race. Dancing City, Stellar Story, the changing man up from Handicap Company. Jordan's, who I think you put up for a good mention at Cheltenham, of course, did run well, finishing in fifth place. Key de Bourbon and Don't Rightly Know. It's a nice size field for a betting argument. What do you like?
Yeah, probably I'm kind of shirking it. Like I'd love handstands, but I didn't envisage them being 7-4, 15-8, 2-1 for this. Do you know what I mean? As in,
Yeah.
like it's stacked with some very really good horses. He's a class animal, and what's really makes me happy is that Stephen Cass has got this horse completely wrong. He said he was a 130s yoke, and he couldn't have been more wrong. This horse is now 157, and I would argue if he wins this race, he could be pushing up to be the top-rated novice chaser of the season. He's thing there, but he was brilliant last time at Sandown. That form was franked by Django Boy, but I'm wary of that being too strong a frank though either with how that Arkle worked out in the end. Do you know what I mean? As in Django Bay he outstayed horses who'd all made, but who'd all either maybe gone too soon or made errors, etc., etc., etc. So I'm wary of handstands. Absolutely love him. I think he'll win, but not confident enough to kind of ploughing at those odds. And the rest of them, a lot of these had very hard races at Cheltenham. So, Dean, like a really tepid start today from me. If handstands drifts out to 5-2, 11-4, which I could see, I'll be backing him. But at the current odds, I just couldn't. But he is the most likely winner, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, not a price I would be getting stuck into with handstands. Do totally respect Ben Paulin's charge. Caldwell Potter did me a favour at Cheltenham. I'd probably side with him. But Dancing City at Cheltenham ran like they knew it wasn't the day.
Drifted,
Yeah.
ran like they knew.
And yeah,
Yeah,
Paul Townend's on. I think that's the value. I think the 11-2 around for Dancing City is probably the value if you have to take a play. A fascinating opener. I can't have a strong opinion. I'd like Caldwell Potter to continue his march up the rankings and be a big force for the Nicholls camp next year. But Dancing City, if you're nailing my colours to the board at the odds, that would be the bet. We move into the 220. This is, of course, the big handicap hurdle on the day, 2 mile 4. Uh, we're looking at a horse that I thought was one of the best bets of the week at Cheltenham, Impostoir. I don't think it's going to go off favourite, but it's going to go off mighty close, currently around 7-1. Nico de Boinville for Nicky Henderson bumped into one at Cheltenham, which can happen. And yeah, I'd be massively keen on this one, taking all sorts of beating. But Kopek Demi is there for Willie Mullins, top of the market with Be Aware, renewing rivalry with plenty of these. Sixes, sevens, 15-2 weighed out. 10-1 bar those. Do you like something at the top or something down below?
I very much like Impostoir, but I'd like him for something like maybe the Great Wood next season or something like that. I think that was a tough run at Cheltenham. He ran an absolute blinder, Dean. I was stood beside you. I taught you the race won, and next thing, old Danny pips you on
Yeah.
Jimmy Desai.
My
It was
least
brutal.
favourite Cheltenham
It
jockey.
when you see him behind you, it's such a horrible feeling. You just
Yeah.
know what's gonna, especially a Mullins horse when they're chasing you down. You just know they're going by you. But I just think he'd a hard enough race that day. Now his constitution, he's a tough old devil of a horse, so he could well be okay.
He's
But still,
lazy.
it's just
Do you know, he saved
yeah,
something.
it's just backing up. Nico was tough on him. Nico always is. Tough. Kopek to me ran terribly. Too bad in the Martin Pipe to be trying to back him here as favourite.
Yeah.
Like that was an awful run. He jumped deplorably. He was still punted all day as well. It wasn't like he drifted that market or anything else. I don't know. Lead against him. I put up for my article for Gambling.com. I put up Favour and Fortune at 33-1. He's now 20s. I think that 33-1, I think will look a very big price here. Last year, this horse finished sixth in the Supreme, then won the Scottish Champion Hurdle off £1 higher. This season hasn't run badly at all. That was a serious run in the Betfair. Last time looked like he just didn't handle Kelso at all. And he comes here now, up and trip, which he looked like he needed in that Betfair. He was one of the only horses who kind of came from that far back as well. And Dino, I just think 20 to 1 about a horse who we know he only comes good around now. He has some serious back form. Like he was second to Django Bay last year in the Formby Grade One as well. He has, for his price, he has too much Grade One back form to be the price that he is. He's only £1 lower than a massive win last year. He is far too big a price there, Dean.
All right. Yeah, I can't put you off at those prices. Favor and fortune for Alan King and Tom Cannon. I'm gonna stay with Impostoir. I still think he's a knocking bet. Saves a little bit for himself. Don't think there's a Jimmy DeSoy in here unless it's Kopek to me. And if you can back that at favourite after watching it run at Cheltenham, I wish you the very best of luck. We move into the 255. And now we're into another grade one, of course, and a chance for Romeo Coolio to get Gordon Elliott on the board if he isn't already. Sam Ewing, of course, taking over your 11:08 favourite. Tripoli Flyer is in there for Fergal O'Brien. Salvatore Mundi. Yeah, some people say disappointment in the Supreme, but maybe that's as good as it is. We don't know. And your old mate, Diva Luna.
Yeah, she has every chance, but I'm taking on all the front of the market here. They
Yeah.
all had tough races at Cheltenham from uh, one way or another. Um, on a line through Diva Luna, Jet to Vegas should be shorter. So Diva Luna, 2 runs back, was battered by Castle Carrick. Castle Carrick last time was battered by Jet to Vegas, who looked really impressive. This horse, he's coming up markedly now in trip and or sorry,
Hmm.
in class here, obviously. But um, 16 to 1 for him here, considering the his back form, all of it there. The trainer as well targets this festival brilliantly. 16 to 1 just looks very, very big. This race, I think, will completely fall apart.
And it has potential to do exactly that. Of course, we didn't see Tripoli fly. Sort of the O'Brien team must be keen that they'll get it right at Aintree with that one. I know there's a lot of good thoughts around it, and there's plenty of rags in here, so I think you can definitely take a chance. Salvatore Monday must be better than we saw at Cheltenham, but you wouldn't be certain of that happening. I think if Romeo Coolio's okay, it can get the job done. But 11-8, whether you watch or get involved, I think is a personal decision. But I think it's short enough. Most likely the winner for me. We move on then into the next race of the day on Friday's card at Aintree. Probably don't need to spend too much time on this one. John Bon, chance gone at the start, according to Nico at Cheltenham, is going to go off 6-4 on to win the Melling Chase. Will it win?
Yeah, his chance was gone at Cheltenham once he was declared because he just can't he can't win a good race there. But bar that, he wins this. He's a superb racehorse. He'll win this race. He's much the best of these, Dean. And there's even an argument that 6-4 on if we were that kind of punters, which we're not. But that's arguably not the worst price. He's a very good racehorse and going up and trip. Has always looked like a lot of Nicky Henderson's best 2 milers. Actually, they always look like they could go up and trip easily enough. He does look like that, and yeah, Dean, he just wins, just wins.
Okay. All right. John Bond for me as well. We'll take on El Fabiola, Protectorat, and a random entry there for Matata, trying to pick up a bit of prize money. Only 4 of them go to post. It's a huge pot, of course. And John Bond, it'd be 10 next year. Does need to get this one on the board, I think. And they probably will. That's the 3:30 at Aintree. Okay, we move then into the Topham, one of the best races of the weekend's action at Aintree, of course. Fascinating to see Willie Mullins. I think is going to probably have the top 3 in the market here with Blue Lord James de Burley and Glenn Gooley. Am I right? We'll sneak into the betting there somewhere around that mix, around the kind of double figures, 10s, 12-1 with Rachel Blackmore on. If you, I think it could be a Willie Mullins benefit. Which one did you like out of them? And is it your selection?
So first of all, I'd say James de Burley is your selection. I would imagine he went very close to you last year. We
I
were
call him James, but yeah.
We actually watched this at a wedding last year together, and
Don't, don't,
again, we just thought you were home and hose.
don't.
Yeah, God, who was it that got you? Who was the other? It doesn't
Arizona
matter.
Cardinal.
Yeah, he runs here. He runs here again, doesn't he? And the yeah, tough. Blue Lord could well be thrown in. Like him on the same rating as James de Burle is very interesting because that's a top class Grade One horse. So if they have him back, that's there. But still, he's just been running so badly that I'm happy enough to kind of shirk him. I like two against the field here. I like Chantreuse first of all at 16 to 1. I have cleansed myself of this horse for the last while, but happened to watch back last year's Topham, and he actually runs a blinder. 5 out, he makes how Darragh O'Keefe stays on his back, and Darragh O'Keefe flies home. I actually asked Dara recently about this horse. He said he thinks he would have been banged there had that error not happened. He had to completely ease off and let him come back again. It's a really good seventh. He finishes a great race, takes the defences really well. Henry de Bromhead has pretty much targeted this race now all season because of how well he took the defences. So he's very interesting. And then one, a flyer there at 40 to 1, is adamantly chosen with Brian Hayes back in his back. Brian Hayes gets on with this horse really well. He's placed at Grade 1 level with him. Having him back on board is huge. And adamantly chosen actually runs a blinder in that Grand National last year before cutting out. He just didn't say the trip at all, but he jumped the fences brilliantly. Sean O'Keefe and him nearly took it up at one point. It was a serious run. Back down in this trip here, adamantly chosen. Now he's bled in the past, there's loads of risk there, but he's 40 to 1 for that reason. He could run an absolute blinder. He loved this ground, he loved this trip, and Brian Hayes just gets on particularly well with him. He was second, second at Limerick Grade 1. He was second behind Mighty Potter at the DRF, all under Brian Hayes. So that's a big one there. But Chantreuse, he would be my main one there, Dino.
Okay, Chantreuse at a big price, 16s currently for Henry de Bromhead and Darragh O'Keefe, and adamantly chosen Brian Hayes for Willie Mullins. Not one of his top three. I do like James de Burle, James as you call him, but I do like James de Burle a lot. I'd love him to go and get redemption for last year for my wallet and for connections. I thought they were just mugged, but that's the kind of thing that happens to this horse. So we'll see how JJ Slevin gets on. Guaranteed to run very, very well on exactly the right posse you'd want for this. Not actually very friendly in the market, currently out at 10 to 1, best price in the village. Do you know who intrigued me in here? And I won't let it run without a couple of quid. Is the old spring horse gentleman to me. And Mark Walsh is on
Yes.
there for Willie Mullins. Yeah, you have to give it a squeak. Everyone says the spring horse and it runs terribly in between. It hasn't actually run that well in the spring for a while, so it needs to go and deliver a bit. But yeah, I thought he was fascinating as a springer. 9 years old, still got plenty in the tank off a top mark.
And he's the type of horse, the kind of mad horse thing that, he could just be lit up by these fences.
And then he'd be too good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Fair.
and then he would be too good. So I thought he was fascinating. So definitely include him in your place pots or a little each way. Dabble away at that. Okay, on to the Seft and Novices hurdle. Got a bit of the new Lion form, represented, of course, by Caliphate on Voix for Nicky Henderson and Nico de Boinville. I don't think you have to look further than that, Derm. I do think this horse will win.
Yeah, it's a terrible race, isn't it? Like it's
Doesn't
it's
look great.
really, really bad.
Mm. Grade
Mr.
one.
Megget there in second. He's very talented, but he's bled in the past as well. And over 3 miles, I'd be very worried about him. He's really classy horse, but I'd be quite wary of him now because he bled in the bumper last year here at Aintree. It's a tough race. Moon Rockets won. He ran very well in a grade 2. A Doncaster, but Dean, it's a race that I'm happy to follow you in here. I won't be getting involved at all.
Yeah, I think stick with the top of it. I do think Caliphate Envoy is going to be a very, very good horse, and yeah, why not? That's the 440 Aintree. I say I don't think it quite merits Grade 1 on that field. Plenty of the quick turnaround is affecting some of these races from Cheltenham for sure. Okay, we move on to the final race of the day on the Friday. We're into it, the conditional jockeys handicap hurdle. Alpha Dill is currently a market leader for Paul Nichols and Freddie Ginger. Then you've got Hamsian, who I think there's going to be a lot of support for this for Tony Martin. I can see that going off pretty short. Celtic Dino's in there for Sam Thomas and Dylan Johnson at 10s. It's also 10 to 1 diamonds for luck for Ollie Murphy. 11 to 1 bar those. Have you got something at a decent price? A minefield. I do like one lower down, but I'll save it.
Yeah, I like Grimaud here for Gilligan and Gordon Elliott. Really good last time he made in hurdle. First time over handicapped. Gordon just knows how to keep these horses in low maiden company, and all of a sudden they're way too good a handicap company. He could well. I'd say he looks a horse who's probably way ahead of his mark. He's 16 to 1 still, which is a huge price still. He was put in kind of wrong about 33s, but that was corrected quite quickly there. So it's 16 to 1 there with Bet365. I can see there is a very big price, and it's a minefield of a race, but he's a good each way horse there now, and he was very good last time. Again, terrible race, but Danny Gilligan. Handicap hurdle. Danny Gilligan simply he's a lot better than a lot of these jockeys as well.
Yeah.
You know, like he's a proper jockey. He's very very good, and that makes up an awful lot of difference here. Um, so yeah, he's the one for me. This was the race that used to be on after the Grand National, isn't it? This
I
is
think
this
so,
was the
yeah.
one that David Mullins won after he'd won the Grand National. Yeah, perfect.
I think so. Okay, that's Grimaud for Gordon Elliott, Danny Gilligan. I could see 20 to 1 out there, best price in the village currently. The one I liked, and you were talking about how much jockeys can have an effect on this race. Of course they can. Connor Stone Walsh is on Harry Derham's
Oh yeah.
Washington, who
Mm.
was always thought of as a very, very nice horse at Ollie Murphy. And well, Harry worked the Oracle, I thought, once he got hold of him, and sent the Chepstow one, sent him over to Fairy House on one of all places. And I've always got a sweet spot for anything that can win at that track. Obviously, with it being outside my back window, not quite, but close enough. Yeah, and then it didn't quite go as to plan behind Joyeuse, but I think you can excuse that. Cornerstone Walsh will take off 3. I think there's plenty of room in the mark. And Washington at 20 to 1 will be my final bet of the day. And I'm quite looking forward to that one.
Yeah, yeah. Same.
All right, look, that's Friday. Hopefully we've had a great Thursday. Hopefully we're in store for a great Friday. We're going to do our Grand National show, of course, and go through every runner in the field. That'll be up on YouTube later on, and we'll be back for all of Saturday's action, including the big one itself, the Grand National. I need your nap of the day on Friday, Demonol.
Favor and fortune at 20 to 1, Dino.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah,
20 to 1
yeah.
is a lovely way to attack it. Impose-toi. I'm taking you
Same
on then.
race, right? Graham, we're up against each other.
Yeah.
Reverse forecast, so is our nap. Reverse forecast is
100%,
nap. Yeah,
100%.
Graham.
I can't desert him. I think he saves a little bit. I think he'd be good enough to win here. There isn't a Jimmy DeSoy, thank goodness, this time. And we should we should be fine. Hopefully Danny Mullins is not anything, and I'll be safe. And I'll be safe for him. All right. Look, best of luck to everyone getting involved. You've been watching the panel on Gambling.com. See you later.